What's up, Patriots? I'm Gary Franchi. Welcome to the Raw Feed, where we don't just report the news, we interact with you, our viewers, getting your real-time reactions to the stories that matter. So share the stream via text message to bypass their algorithms. Ex-viewers, repost this to your followers right now. And if you're watching on Facebook, hit that share button and tell the world where you're getting your news. Remember, we're streaming live to millions on YouTube, plus our Patriots on Rumble, X, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And you need to follow us on all platforms because the censors can't stop us when we are everywhere. And yes, we will be reading your Super Chats and Rumble rants between segments, featuring them on screen for the world to see. So send them in right now, even before we get rolling. I want to hear what you think about these stories. And if you want to support the show privately, hit those donation links in the description and check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got Alligator Alcatraz, President Autopen, and our American Badass series, where you can wear your support proudly. You can also join our YouTube channel memberships. Each level comes with its own perks, special acknowledgement in the chat, exclusive access to the Next News team, behind-the-scenes uploads. Yeah, did you see the one that I posted right when I got off the plane in South Carolina? Yeah, that was a pretty remarkable moment when President Trump reshares your post. Yeah. But anyway, we got a members-only 24/7 Discord chat you'll have access to as well. And speaking of staying connected, you can download the new Next News Network app right now. Get breaking news alerts, exclusive content 24/7. Android users, grab it at the Google Play Store. iPhone users, hit up the App Store. You'll find the links in the description. And it's specifically for our Discord friends, so make sure you head on over there and grab that as soon as possible. Never miss a story that matters. Now, today is a very special day in the Franchi household. On this day in history, September 9th, 2014, my wife, Angie, and I welcome our son, Angelo, into this world. Today, he turns 11 years old, so happy birthday, little buddy. You know, when I look at what's happening in America today, the battles we're fighting for freedom, for truth, and for our children's future, it all comes down to one thing: making sure kids like Angelo grow up in a country that's safe and free and prosperous. That's why we do this show. That is why we fight. Which brings me to what happened this weekend. Well, I have officially been named the meme lord after creating not just the Chipocalypse Now masterpiece that Donald Trump reposted, sending Democrats into total meltdown, but also, remember that fake Vanity Fair cover that had them clutching their pearls? Yeah, we're not just reporting the news anymore, folks. We are making it. Today's show is explosive. We've got the South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson announcing his run for governor, an exclusive interview with yours truly. This combat veteran and current National Guard colonel didn't just talk. He exposed how Democrats tried to destroy him with 32 frivolous complaints for backing Trump's election challenges. We're talking about a man who spent $100,000 and 4.5 years fighting off lawfare and won every single case. And I was absolutely honored to have him sitting with me when I went to the South Carolina ceremony, where I received an award for the reporting we've done on Cambodia, shining a light on that place, at that border situation, as well as I gave a speech there. We're still processing all the information, but if you want to get the latest on that, just go to my Facebook page. You'll find all the pictures that have been posted from the event. We're still going to get that speech. We'll get that for you as well. But then, of course, we're going to dive into the Chipocalypse Now meme that I created and broke the internet. Trump saw it, reposted it, the White House amplified it, and now every liberal talking head from CNN to MSNBC having complete breakdowns. But it's not just about memes. It's about the reality on Chicago's streets, where Operation Midway Blitz just kicked off with ICE nabbing child predators while Democrats build walls around courthouses. We've got groundbreaking UFO testimony from Congress. That's right, Congress. Navy chiefs confirming Tic Tac objects emerging from oceans. Air Force veterans describing 2-story tall craft, and an Army colonel stating flat out that non-human intelligence is real and has been here for a very long time. Even Lockheed Martin's involvement in UFO crash retrievals is now on the congressional record. If that wasn't enough, Representative Randy Fine just introduced legislation that would hold judges personally liable when they release violent criminals who kill again. The days of black-robed activists playing Russian roulette with public safety, those days are numbered. So today, as I celebrate my son's birthday, I'm reminded why we do this. It's not just about politics or memes or viral moments. It's about securing the future for our children. Angelo turns 11 today, and by God, we're going to make sure that he inherits an America that's strong, free, and unafraid. And I do want to send another shout out to another little one. Her name is Trinity, and she stole my heart there in South Carolina. Here she is. There she is. The cutest little girl I've ever met, and she was there in South Carolina. She asked me for my autograph, and I gladly provided it. Such a darling. But you could find all these pictures from that event. I mean, you can see right here, here's me and the Attorney General, 70 pictures in this. I mean, they had a security detail. I mean, there was flowers and pictures of me, and it was just, I'm still overwhelmed with the emotion from that day. Still trying to process everything. It's a moment I will never forget. So I want to thank everybody in the South Carolina, Cambodian community, in North Carolina, Boston. Everyone came out from all over the country. So shout out to you, Trinity. All right. Who else is in the house today? Let's find out who is here. Let's go to our... thank you, Brian. Okay, we got Eva and James, disabled outcast in the house. Nitro Burp wants me to start singing already. That's not going to happen. We got Saming Chen, Aaliyah Lim, Hot Rod Mike in the house, from Pluto 8, Miss Podhead Kenny, and shout out to whoever made that Cambodian moonshine on Sunday. Yes, the root is on fire, that's for sure. And I made sure. Yeah, kind of early. It is Hot Rod Mike, a little early, because I'm going to go out and celebrate my son's birthday today. That's what I'm going to do. Yes, thank you, Thevi, Yuang, Bob, Ratcliffe, and who else is in the house? Looney Rooney is here. Foothills Smokey. What's up? East Tennessee in the house. What up? And I think I saw, where is she? I saw Ratha here. I saw her. Yeah, I think her comment was highlighted in the beginning of the show. So shout out to you. There she is. Ratha. Hey, there she is. Great to see you. She was actually one of the hosts for the event. And, I mean, they rolled out the red carpet, literally, and more. So anyway, we got some more news to get to, and don't want to delay too much more because we have this interview that Michael Alfaro helped me secure. He was there at the event in South Carolina. He was the man of the hour, I should say, for his work and uncovering what's going on at the border in Cambodia. So let's get to the interview with Alan Wilson.
What's up, everybody? Gary Franchi here. Next News Now.
No. You're too soon. I got to do my intro. No. Thank you, though. All right, let's go. South Carolina just became ground zero in the battle for America's future. Attorney General Alan Wilson, a combat veteran, still serving as a colonel in the National Guard, dropped a political bombshell that's sending shockwaves through the establishment. In an exclusive interview with yours truly, he revealed the brutal price that he has paid for standing with President Trump. 32 complaints, $100,000, 4.5 years of legal warfare. But that's not why he's making headlines today. What he told me about his plans as governor, about unleashing the Guard, about the real meaning of the Department of War, it changes everything. The sanctuary state crowd better buckle up and stay locked in. Now imagine an opportunity that could grow your wealth while also strengthening your country's future. That is the vision behind Western Star Resources. Western Star Resources is an experienced, publicly traded gold and silver exploration company with a proven track record in advancing high-potential projects. The company combines deep geological expertise with modern exploration techniques to unlock value in some of North America's most prospective mineral regions. With domestic demand for precious metals continuing to rise and with the U.S. government backing stronger domestic exploration, Western Star Resources is positioned for the next stage of growth. The company is advancing active projects in Canada and is actively evaluating opportunities in the United States. So could a huge U.S. expansion be on the cards? Well, I wouldn't bet against them or that plan. Western Star Resources, making gold and silver great again. Check them out in the link in the description, westernstarresources.com. Now, we did this interview while I was in South Carolina. I was receiving an award by the North and South Carolina community, the Cambodian community. The Attorney General was there. He was also, he delivered some remarks. I was welcomed by the South Carolina and the North Carolina Cambodian community like a returning war hero for the reporting that we have done on the Cambodia-Thailand crisis. And it was just an honor to be there in that moment. And then, of course, to have this moment with the Attorney General. Watch.
What's up, everybody? Gary Franchi here, Next News Network. I'm in South Carolina, and you're not going to believe who's sitting next to me. I'm sitting next to the Attorney General for the state, and guess what? He's running for governor. He's just announced, and we're going to talk about some of the policies. We're going to talk about some of the events that are happening nationwide. As you know, President Trump just renamed the Department of Defense now as the War Department. And you're a veteran. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
You're a veteran, and you've thrown your hat in the race. Big news is happening all over the country. What's your immediate reaction to the renaming? This is George Washington's original vision.
That's right.
And you're a veteran.
Well, honestly, this is what we lived under for 150 years. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it wasn't until around World War II that we changed the moniker of the Department of Defense. But as a 29-year veteran, having served a combat tour in Iraq, and I'm still serving. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, wow.
But in addition to my day job, I'm still serving in the National Guard. Wow. It's something I'm really honored to be doing. I'm a colonel. And, honestly, I'm really proud of the job that President Trump is doing to elevate national security and actually returning integrity back to the Department of Defense is something that I'm really excited about. When I talk to soldiers and service members alike all over the country, they all have the same opinion.
Well, what's the temperature right now in the armed forces? During the Biden administration, it just felt really demoralized. We saw, drag queen story hours taking place on military bases, and now with the Secretary of War, Hegseth, really restoring the warrior ethos to that department and making that dramatic name change. It really, in my opinion, we're playing offense now.
No, absolutely. And when you think about what is the mission of the U.S. military, it's to win the nation's wars.
Sure.
It is not a laboratory for social experimentation. It is not a place where you try out the latest, greatest woke policy. It's where you train men and women to fight and win the nation's wars, to defend our way of life, which is under attack, not just abroad, but even within the United States of America. So honestly, renaming the Department of Defense, the War Department, actually takes us back to its original core function.
Paul Revere, he put two lanterns in the tower, and one if by land, two if by sea, and clearly, there are enemies of America on our soil today, and it's like we have to raise a lantern and wake up the American people. President Trump's doing that, you're doing that. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you're in the Guard currently, and there's a lot of discussion right now, especially with what's going on in Chicago. President Trump, yesterday, he reposted a meme that I had created, and then it created quite a stir. And now Great Lakes Naval Station is going to be a staging ground for this cleanup. Now, of course, the Democrats are freaking out because of the analogy with the Department of War and the Apocalypse Now theme. But of course, it's imagery. It's not intended to make an actual declaration of war. But with that reality of President Trump putting the Guard in Chicago like he did in Los Angeles, like he did in Washington, D.C., and you soon to hold, hopefully, the governor's office. You have that ability to dispatch your Guard. How would your Guard supplement the president's actions whether it's at the border, whether it's in Los Angeles, whether it's in DC or Chicago. How does that function? How does that work? And is that something you'd support?
Absolutely, I would support it. Obviously, there are lawful ways to do it. Obviously, the U.S. military, the Army, is not a military police force, and you don't want it to be perceived as such. But there are ways that the U.S. Military, especially the National Guard and the Reserve, but especially the National Guard, can be used to provide support to the policing of the southern border, as well as to securing and promoting peace and protecting federal property and federal employees who are performing federal law or enforcing federal laws. So I would do everything that I could to support the president's border mission, obviously to support the president and his agenda for using our assets and our resources at the state level. The governor is the commander-in-chief of the National Guard, and the governor has the ability to deploy the National Guard in support of these missions, and there are legal mechanisms for doing that. And so I would absolutely pursue every one of those to support the president.
So how does that work then? Do you just call up the president and say, hey, I've got my guys here, we're ready, or does he call you and say, hey, I need you? And then, of course, there's the question of posse comitatus and you know, the policing element that you brought up. How does that whole function work?
Well, first off, you know, as the governor is the commander-in-chief, and posse comitatus only applies to federalized forces on Title 10. In the National Guard, when the governor is the commander-in-chief, you're under Title 32, which is under state control. So Title 32 forces can actually perform backup support to operations that have a law enforcement component to it. So you're not,
wow.
Yeah. So you're not, and obviously the funding depends on where the funding comes from. But I mean, we're doing border missions right now, and have done border missions over the last several years. But again, posse comitatus would only apply to the federalized U.S. military. You don't ever want the U.S. military to act like a police force. That is what that is addressed to. But in Title 32 status, when people go drill on the weekends, they're not federalized. Their commander-in-chief is not the president, it's the governor. The governor can support the president when they're in Title 32 status, and they can send them down on state active duty, which obviously be funded by the states, but obviously the Secretary of War could, obviously help pay for that too.
Does the president have the power to federalize the state guard and conscript them to a federal role?
Yeah, yes. I mean, up to a point, obviously, the Congress has to declare acts of war, but the president, for a period of time, can actually
So it's a temporary
Yes.
situation. Do you think that we're reaching an emergency situation in this country where the president could invoke national emergency executive orders with respect to the crime problems that a lot of these major cities are seeing now?
Well, obviously, we just had a recent court case where, the Fifth Circuit disagreed with the president's interpretation of the Alien Enemies Act. I believe that judges should not be second-guessing the commander-in-chief on issues involving the invasion or predatory incursions into the U.S., as this court did. I believe that will be appealed to the Supreme Court. I will be supporting that lawsuit. But a predatory incursion is not an active conventional war. It's not uniformed forces attacking the U.S. It's people operating in what we call military gray zone warfare. It's not outward and overt, but it's how other governments can use, like, say, violent gangs like Tren de Aragua, which is a Venezuelan gang stood up by the government, by Maduro's regime. And the whole point is to destabilize in the interior of the U.S. And so that, to me, that is by definition a predatory incursion. And I think the president should have the authority under that particular.
Well, and he's doing that now. He has the fleet off of the coast of Venezuela. They just took out that drug boat.
That's right.
So he's taking very aggressive actions with respect to that, and they're sending down fighter jets to Puerto Rico after Venezuela just buzzed some of our ships. He's not playing games. Let's talk about South Carolina now, because the people here are going to have an opportunity to vote for you, and election integrity is one of the most important things that we can have in this country.
Absolutely.
We saw what happened in 2020. We saw an election ripped from our hands. And then, of course, the moment you question what happened is the moment you get attacked. So with respect to election integrity in the state of South Carolina, what can you do to ensure safe elections? And what was your experience following the 2020 election?
Well, first off, in the wake of the 2020 election and in the days following January 6th, I was obviously supportive of the lawsuit regarding the constitutionality of how some of the states were violating the Constitution and how they were implementing their state election laws. I joined in a small group of states to raise that issue to the Supreme Court. In the days following January 6th, I had 32 complaints filed against me by Democratic groups and operatives trying to take my law license from me because I was trying to support the integrity of that election. Those attacks on me lasted over 4.5 years. They were all dismissed this past summer, but it cost me about $100,000 to defend my law license and my livelihood because I decided to stand up and support the president and support election integrity. You know, it's easy to support President Trump and support these efforts when no one's attacking you, when everyone in the room with you is agreeing with you. But step outside that comfort zone and lay your livelihood on the ground. That's what I did. I laid it on the line.
I mean, you experienced your own form of lawfare following 2020. I mean, we saw what happened with President Trump, and then, of course, all the phony charges they put against him, everything getting thrown out. But you had your own lawfare happening in this state. How many?
32 complaints.
32 complaints, and you have to go ahead and battle every single one of them, which takes money, time, energy.
Even though they're frivolous, you still have to go contest them and defend yourself, and that costs money. You're right.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So when you're, let's talk about the emotional strain that takes place when you're going through those moments. You know you're right. I mean, we knew that that election was taken from us, and I think in hindsight, it was actually. I'm glad they did because President Trump had an opportunity to really stage out the long game here, and now we're having a really wonderful second run of the Trump administration. But you know, during those moments, when we saw President Trump, he had to go to New York and he had to get the mug shots, and he had to take, you know, he went out there and stood there and took the bullets. I mean, quite literally in Butler, he did. But how do you and your family absorb that kind of attack when you know you are right?
Well, honestly, my wife didn't know about it for the 4 years. I told her about it after they were all dismissed this summer. She learned about it. She actually learned about it when I was giving a speech at a big Republican gala about a month and a half ago. And she goes, why didn't you tell me this? I'm like, because I didn't want you to have to worry about it. That's for me to do. So I have 2 teenage kids. They didn't know about it. My wife didn't know about it. It was something that I did, that I defended. We came out on top and were ultimately vindicated. But again, doing the right thing is always going to have a risk associated with it. Yeah. And to everyone out there watching this interview, understand that when you do the right thing, you're going to be attacked. But people don't attack you when you're irrelevant. It's only when you're relevant you get attacked.
When you're over the target.
That's right.
Clearly you're over the target right now, and,
yes,
you emerge victorious. Well, it's been an honor to sit here with you and talk with you. How can the folks at home watching this, how can they support your campaign if they want to do so?
Absolutely. If you want to go to wilsonforsc.com, and that's Wilson, F-O-R, not F-O-U, F-O-R-S-C, Wilson, F-O-R-S-C. .com, and that you can learn about my campaign. You can donate, contribute. You can join a coalition. You can, obviously learn more about us. Anything you can do would be very much appreciated. Again, we're going to continue to take this fight out there, and not just here in South Carolina, but a coalition of conservative, law and order governors can stand together supporting the president. We can make America great again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you got value from that interview, hit subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Now, this is not just another political announcement, folks. Alan Wilson represents a new breed of Republican leadership, combat tested, legally battle hardened, and ready to work hand in glove with President Trump's restoration of American strength. When a man endures 32 lawfare attacks and emerges victorious, you're not looking at a politician, you're looking at a warrior. Now, I met him. I sat down with him. He is the real deal. I didn't feel like I was talking to a stuffy politician with scripted lines. He was the real deal. When he was with me, he didn't even have his political staff with him. He was approachable and 100% genuine. And that's why I support his campaign, and I look forward to going to his inauguration. Now, his promise to deploy South Carolina's Guard wherever Trump needs them, the border, sanctuary cities, crime-infested hellholes, that's not campaign rhetoric. That's a colonel who understands chain of command and constitutional duty. The left tried to destroy him for defending election integrity. They failed. Now he's coming for the governor's mansion, and sanctuary policies in South Carolina are living on borrowed time. So here's my question. Should states that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement lose all federal funding? Drop a yes or no in the comments. Let's continue the conversation. And while you're fired up, make sure you check out our Next News merch shop. It's linked down below where you can wear your patriotism proudly. All right. No, that guy was straight up so genuine, so real, and it was just an honor to sit down with him. And we actually got to drive up to the temple where they were holding that ceremony. I was driving with him, and just got to chat with him and talk with him, and just a remarkable guy. So I hope you guys will take some time, learn more about him, and if you want, support his campaign. I will be. So that's from me to you guys. Love you. All right, Nancy Pelosi's liver in the house. What's up? Diana's here. William Adams, Gunner. Timing is key. Karen Finley is here as well, giving a shout out to Nancy Pelosi's liver. All right. We got some more news to get to because it's Angela's birthday, and got to do the show and then go celebrate. All right. Over the weekend, I created a meme. Not just any meme, a cinematic gut punch featuring Trump in aviators in a cavalry hat, helicopters thundering over Chicago with the words, Chipocalypse Now. What happened next defied all logic. The president of the United States saw it. He loved it, and then he reposted it. The White House amplified it, and then the entire political establishment lost their minds. Senators called it treason. Governors screamed about martial law. CNN treated it like a declaration of war. But here's what they don't understand. It wasn't just a meme, it was a mirror, and they didn't like what they saw. The full story will blow your mind, so keep watching. Now imagine an opportunity that could grow your wealth while also strengthening your country's future. That is the vision behind Western Star Resources. Western Star Resources is an experienced, publicly traded gold and silver exploration company with a proven track record in advancing high-potential projects. The company combines deep geological expertise with modern exploration techniques to unlock the value in some of North America's most prospective mineral regions. With domestic demand for precious metals continuing to rise and with the U.S. government backing stronger domestic exploration, Western Star Resources is positioned for the next stage of growth. The company is advancing active projects in Canada and is actively evaluating opportunities in the United States. So could a huge U.S. expansion plan be on the cards? Well, I wouldn't bet against them or that plan. Western Star Resources, making gold and silver great again. Check them out in a link in the description, westernstarresources.com. So, it started with a meme. One picture, we reposted it. The White House amplified it. The media Democrats melted down. I'm going to give you the full timeline. And, I mean, look at this. It was on the 5 today. It was on Gutfeld last night. I mean, the meme wars are alive and well, folks, and I am apparently I am now been named the meme lord. All right, the secretary of meme wars. All right, so how did it start? It started with this post. One meme dropped on X, and within hours it would disrupt the global news cycle. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Now, what's funny is that when I made this, I got a text message from a friend. His name's Daniel. I was introduced to Daniel by Mancow Muller. And so Daniel texts me. He's like, hey, can we make an image that would show Donald Trump on North Avenue Beach, like in the movie Apocalypse Now? And I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that. So I threw together a prompt and made this image. I put the words Chipocalypse Now on the screen and put it off into the world. So shout out to Mancow and shout out to Daniel for helping make this possible. Then President Trump noticed. He screenshotted our post, blasted it out on Truth Social. At that moment, what began as a meme suddenly became presidential. Here's the original Truth Social post that President Trump made. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. And then we have this. The unbelievable happened. The White House official X account shared Trump's Truth Social post. The meme we created got the White House stamp of approval. Holy cow. Now the White House posting it. Then CBS News jumped in, watching their anchor read, "I love the smell of deportations" in the morning. It was like it was a national emergency, but every time I heard him say it, I just couldn't stop laughing.
He also in a Truth Social post this morning, the president appeared to threaten using the power of the Department of War on undocumented migrants in the city. The post said, quote, "I love the smell of deportations." He also shared a cartoon image spoofing the Vietnam War movie Apocalypse Now. In Washington, D.C., there was a large...
And that was only the beginning. Live now from Fox, they flashed the image on screen while announcing Chipocalypse Now.
When President Trump taking to social media here amid questions over when ramped up immigration efforts will begin in the city of Chicago. Chipocalypse Now, the president just wrote on his Truth Social, an obvious play there on Apocalypse Now. This is a look at that post with an image of Trump saying, quote, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." That, of course.
News Nation piled on. The president's threatening to go to war with an American city.
Image of himself. And the war of words between President Trump and Illinois leaders heating up. The president posting an AI-generated image of himself saying Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Both the governor and the mayor say they are preparing for increased operations and the potential deployment of the National Guard. Correspondent Hannah Brandt is live in D.C. with the very latest from the White House. Hannah, good evening.
Kelly, good evening. This is a story we've been tracking for a while now because President Trump has been suggesting the names of other cities. He says he does know what cities he's sending the National Guard to next, but he isn't publicly sharing that information. The Truth Social post President Trump shared today about Chicago is sparking a lot of questions and some controversy. For weeks now, the president has been saying he thinks crime in Chicago is out of control, and his newest post suggests Chicago could be the next city he deploys troops to. The governor of Illinois certainly paying attention to that possibility. Responding to President Trump's post, writing, "The president of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal." A military official.
And the war of words between President Trump and Illinois leaders.
I think it was the CBS post.
National Guard troops
come out with these threatening.
A crime emergency.
For the president to come out with these
Tricky Dick Durbin.
threatening words is disgusting.
President Trump has recently zeroed.
Tricky Dick calling it disgusting. Oh, and then on CNN, they dragged Representative Mike Quigley to analyze our meme like it was a coup plot. Yeah, just laughing all the way.
Chicago about.
Through social media.
President also reposted on Truth Social earlier today. It was this meme that we talked about just a few minutes ago. And when you look at it, it says Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War, all caps. How do you read that?
Yeah, look, this is a scary time. For those who haven't paid attention, it's time to watch what this president is doing. It's instructive in history to remember that often tyrants are elected democratically at first, right? Putin, Viktor Orban, just to name two.
Yeah. Save it. Over on Fox News, Senator Tammy Duckworth blasted it as stolen valor, a meme.
Of Illinois. Here in Chicago, President Trump has forced himself back in the headlines with a provocative post that is drawing the ire of Illinois Democrats. The post seems to channel Robert Duvall from the movie Apocalypse Now. In fact, it's titled Chipocalypse Now, and it reads, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called Department of War." Senator Tammy Duckworth blasted back, called the president a draft dodger, called the image stolen valor. Other Democrats in Congress are slamming the post as well.
The terrible things that the President of the United States is saying about using troops in the Department of War in the city of Chicago is an embarrassment and disgusting.
Shameful action on the part of a president, not presidential.
Here in Chicago, President Trump has forced himself back in the head.
Oh, man. And then we got Gavin Newsom, Pritzker, Karen Bass, Brandon Johnson, Duckworth, Durbin. They couldn't help themselves. Every one of them triggered, every one of them outraged by a meme. Here's Karen Bass She wrote, the deployment of the military against American cities is disgusting, wrong, and illegal. They tried it in Los Angeles, but we stood strong. I know Chicago will stand strong, too. And then who else we got here? Oh, here's Gavin Newsom. The President of the United States is deploying the military onto U.S. streets, using our troops like political pawns. Do not let yourself become numb to this. J.B. Pritzker, my governor, the President of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal. Mayor Brandon Johnson triggered as well. The president's threats are beneath the honor of our nation. But the reality is he wants to occupy our city and break our Constitution. We must defend our democracy from this authoritarianism by protecting each other and protecting Chicago from Donald Trump. Oh, man. So that is the magic, right? I gave it power, or they gave it power. Governors, senators, and mayors holding pressers about an image that we made. And the meltdown's priceless. We didn't just make a meme. We detonated a political earthquake. Trump amplified it. The White House stamped it. The media obsessed. And the left completely lost it. It all started with us, with this meme. And I am just so honored that we were able to do it. Here is, okay, and President Trump responding. Okay, Yamanshi asked him a question outside the White House about declaring war on Chicago, President Trump putting her in her place. Yamanshi Alcindor, she is one of the White House correspondents. I think she's with NBC or PBS. I don't know. She moves around. But she tried getting me in trouble at the White House once because I was standing in the wrong place. Basically creating a whole scene about it. That's the story for another day. But here is, this is our Chipocalypse Now meme on Fox News, the 5 today.
And the senseless murder comes as Democrats protest President Trump's vow to expand his crime crackdown to Chicago. They're ignoring the violence, but are outraged over the memes. President Trump posting this AI rework of the movie Apocalypse Now with the caption, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." The president then sparring with a reporter who took that meme as a serious declaration of war.
That's fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would you
the
Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Oh, yeah, baby. And I guess we have this Politico brought it up on 24 hours ago after repeatedly threatening to deploy the National Guard. Trump posted a Vietnam War themed meme. It didn't go well with the Chicagoans.
Well, the meme he posted on Truth Social over the weekend, Dasha, the Vietnam War thing, this sort of mocked up Apocalypse Now poster, did not go down well at all in Chicago and has really caused a big stir there.
Yeah, it didn't go over well with a lot of folks. There was a lot of uproar over that, and you saw protests in D.C. and in Chicago. That is the kind of message from the president that, despite how much his social media feed tends to be incendiary, this one's really did cut through, and that's part of his tactic with these sort of things, right? It is to create that provocation, and then they can say, which his spokespeople did, why are you more upset about a meme that the president posted than the crime that's going on in these cities? These are the talking points that they are very comfortable with, and they believe put Democrats on their back foot. And it's also no coincidence that he's looking and talking a lot about J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, who might be running for president.
Yeah, we hit Politico too. We were on the 5. Okay, what's this? ABC World News Tonight. Using their hysterical selves on SCOTUS ICE raids in the Chipocalypse Now meme. Nice. Jorge Bonilla posting it. We made World News Tonight.
On social media.
Next this evening, the Supreme Court handing President Trump a major victory in his immigration crackdown, and the president igniting a firestorm by posting an image referencing bringing war to Chicago. Let's get right to our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. Pierre.
David, the city of Chicago is bracing for an immigration enforcement surge after the president posted on social media over the weekend that the city was, quote, about to find out why it's called the Department of War. He later downplayed the post, and there's still no word on when the National Guard might be deployed in Chicago. But today, Homeland Security officials announced Operation Midway Blitz has been launched, which they say will target the worst of the worst foreign nationals accused of crimes. And today, the administration got more leeway for aggressive immigration enforcement after the Supreme Court lifted restrictions on ICE agents operating in California whose tactics had been criticized as racial profiling.
Yeah. ABC World News. Speaking of memes, you see this one? Oh, yeah. The Phillies Karen. Yeah, she made waves this weekend, too, when she stole a ball from a little boy whose father retrieved it after a home run. Yeah, she's become a whole meme herself. Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids meme. Ball Hog Brenda, they're calling her. I mean, look at the memes that are just dropping about this woman. Unbelievable what she did. Totally disgraceful. Still not totally clear who she is. I'm surprised the internet hasn't figured it out yet. Speaking of memes, I mean, on Friday we dropped the meme about Chipocalypse Now. The week before, I made this American Queen Vanity Fair cover, and the internet completely melted down over that too. So we're on a roll over here at the Next News Network. Gavin Newsom actually picking it up, making his own fake Vanity Fair cover, calling him the American King, as I called Melania the American Queen. Vanity Fair's upcoming. I mean, this was another one. This was August 28th. I mean, this was a week ago. And then here, this is last night. Our meme was on Gutfeld.
Think these things are even up for debate. Cartels shouldn't be allowed to profit off dead Americans, and criminals shouldn't be terrorizing our nation's cities. The fact that Dems think these things are even up for debate shows how nuts they become. Meanwhile, as he plans to crack down on Chicago's crime, Trump posted this meme. Now, wow, you're alive today. Of course, the brain-dead media must ask, are you trying to go to war with Chicago?
Are you trying to go to war with Chicago?
When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
And if you disagree, well, you can always join the Maryland Dad in Eswatini. And don't let the Statue of Liberty smack your ass on the way out.
Yeah, baby. Made it to Gutfeld, too. Oh, man, I was tracking it all weekend. Oh, man. So let's see what we hear. Jesse Waters posting it, too. Operation Midway Blitz is underway in Chicago. Even pocket-sized predators are getting ice. Democrats are upset. Tom Homan and Stephen Miller are ruining Mexican Independence Day.
You're back. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. That's a quote from the president. Just ask this pocket-sized predator. This is Christian Soto. We asked DHS, how small? We're waiting to hear back. But there's still a lot of work to do. Like in Chicago, the ICE Super Bowl kicked off. It's game on, JB back. Ribs doesn't rule his city anymore. It's now Homan's homeland. The invasion's begun. It's dubbed Operation Midway Blitz. And Fox got a ride along and witnessed a bad hombre getting iced in real time.
The surge has begun. Operation Midway Blitz launches in Chicago.
We're just outside the Cook. The surge has begun. You can see the new ICE vehicles on the streets here in Chicago. We're just outside the Cook County Courthouse, but that surge is part of the ICE-led Operation Midway Blitz that they say is in honor of a beautiful young Chicago woman, Katie Abraham, who was killed by an illegal alien drunk driver back in January of this year. And
And Ben Berquam is in Chicago as well. Let's see what Ben has got going on here. Some of the sights and sounds from the Great Lakes Naval Base protests in North Chicago. He says, let's see if we can talk to these libtards. Wait for the ending.
We don't want you here.
That's okay. That's the beauty of America. It's a bunch of white liberal women trying to silence everybody.
Don't speak for yourself. Listen to the white liberal woman. Don't speak for yourself. Don't speak for yourself. Don't engage. Don't think for yourself. Don't speak for yourself. Listen to the white liberal women, everybody. That's what you have to do. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Illegal aliens have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Illegal aliens have got to go. Illegals are illegal. Illegals are illegal. The definition. The citizens. Illegals are illegal. They don't know definition. Illegals are illegal. What are you doing out here?
Is illegal.
I love these guys. I love these guys. That's awesome.
Ben Berquam, good friend, love his reporting. He's in Chicago. There's going to be a press conference on Thursday. I'm intending to go to that as well. Chicago Flips Reds hosting that. Here's President Trump 24 hours ago talking about Chicago.
Make a decision. Chicago is a very dangerous place, and we have a governor that doesn't care about crime. I guess we could solve Chicago very quickly, but we're going to make a decision as to where we go over the next day or two. When you look at what happened to D.C. in a short period of time, honestly, it's amazing. Chicago is
okay, we play this clip. Here's President Trump 72 hours ago.
And when you look at Chicago, we'll be doing that with other cities throughout the country. I mean, when you look at Chicago, we have a governor that says that things are okay with crime, except that last weekend, 11 people were killed and 68 people were wounded by gunshot. The week before, 5 people were killed, 28 people were wounded. The week before, 6 people were killed, 19 people were badly wounded. Many of the wounded are going to die. And he said, oh, well, we have a safe city. These people are sick. There's something wrong with them. But we're going to make some other choices pretty soon. I watched Portland, Oregon last night burning to the ground, just burning with people. And these are agitators. These are professional agitators. These are not people that are protesting. These are professional paid agitators. And they're paid by the left, not by the right. And we're going to stop them. We're going to stop it all. We'll be doing.
President Trump, he knows that money comes from Soros. They're investigating. Let's keep going. I think we got some more here. Chicago's governor, mayor and governor are holding these shooting zone areas hostage for their own political ends.
So, all right, I'm Sweeney. I'm in Lower Manhattan again. I have an opinion on what Trump is about to do to Chicago. I'm going to try to give it to you in 60 seconds without getting angry, but I make no guarantees. So, if you've been following the news in the last month, you know that Trump has sent a lot of troops to D.C. Within 1 week of doing so, the crime rate in D.C. dropped to fucking 0. So, on the wake of that success, he has suggested and offered sending troops to high crime density areas in Chicago. But instead of accepting that invitation or being receptive to this offer, Illinois' governor, J.B. Pritzker, and Chicago's mayor, Brandon Johnson, have resisted it at every turn. They've called it a blatant constitutional violation. They have said it would be in contravention of long-standing federalism. And they've said that ultimately, the majority of Chicago citizens don't want his troops there. Here's my question. If the two of them were so confident that the majority of Chicago citizens don't want Trump's troops there, why don't they hold an immediate referendum to allow the majority of Chicago citizens to vote on this issue, which they could do any day of the week? I'll tell you why. Because they know the majority would want them there to protect the residents in these high crime density areas. So when you view it under this lens, it's obvious what the two of them are doing. They are holding these shooting zone areas hostage for their own political ends. And that is fucking wild.
Yeah, it is wild. It's disgusting,
it doesn't
too.
fit a narrative. This is my most
okay, we got some more. Let's see. The operation. Here's the original White House post. Wow. Kim Katie USA. I love the smell of it, too. People reposting their own versions of the meme. It's amazing to see just how far that meme traveled. New York Post covering it. Trump threatens thugs in violence-ridden Chicago with Chipocalypse Now meme. I mean, everywhere. Ann Vandersteel writes, in case you're one of the libtards who still doesn't understand why Trump is bringing the National Guard to Chicago, here's a list of 18 gangs confirmed to be wreaking havoc there as we speak. She lists a whole bunch of gangs. Meanwhile, Pritzker putting up walls around the Chicago courthouses to protect illegals from ICE.
Is expected to launch. Chicago's building a wall. Actually, lots of little walls. Pritzker's putting up fences around courthouses and City Hall. Why? To stop Trump from sending the Guard and ICE in. Pritzker didn't want a wall to protect the country, or to protect the country from illegals. He's putting up a wall to protect the illegals and criminals from Trump.
There's a number on the screen. You know what? I'm going to text Jesse Waters right now. I'm going to text him and tell him I made that meme. That's what I'm going to do. How funny. Should we do this? You want to do this with me? All right, I'm going to text him. It's, what is his number there? 986 7479 7479. Okay. Hey, Jesse. Love your show. I am the person who made the Chipocalypse Now meme. And I'll add a picture of the meme. You never know where this is gonna go. They're gonna be like, "Oh, we don't want you on the show." Should I do the show? What do you think? Should I do it? We'll let them know. But yeah, let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna find the picture of my original post. And man, so many pictures here. Let's see here. Almost there. Yes. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. There we go. Sent to Jesse Waters. Right. So, because I got that text message came through at like, I don't know, 12:30 at night. I was getting ready to go to bed. And sometimes that's when my brain just starts kicking in with so much activity. And I'm like, I'm trying to like go to sleep, but I just can't. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just, go ahead and make this meme and put it out into the world. And, I get a message as I'm actually boarding the plane to go to South Carolina from our White House correspondent, Tom McCullough. He's like, bro, because I texted to him after I made the meme. And it was like, 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I finished it, 2:30 when I posted, I think. And that's when I said, because I was traveling, the images weren't coming to my phone as easy as they were. And he's like, dude, didn't you make this? He's like, Trump just shared it. He's like, and the White House just posted. I was like, holy cow. And this is all as I'm getting on a plane to go to South Carolina. It's just crazy. Crazy couple of days for me. But you know what? Here, look at this. Even international press.
Rebranded. Now, President Donald Trump has threatened to unleash his newly rebranded Department of War on Chicago. Trump's latest message on Chicago came via a Truth Social post that included a code and an image evoking the film Apocalypse Now. Trump wrote Chicago about to find why it's called the Department of War. The post featured an apparent AI image of Trump and the quote, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." Both references to the 1979 film Apocalypse Now. On Friday, Trump signed an order changing the name of the
International Prize. Oh, what's this? Another one? Hulk TV? I can't, this is, what language is this? I don't know, but.
Başkanı Donald Trump gündemde kalmayı edip başarıyor ama aslında şaka yapıyormuş gibi görünse de artık şakaları pek komik değil. Bugün onu konuşacağız bol bol. Mustafa Kemal Erdamoğlu'la beraber stüdyodayız. Şimdi Donald Trump biliyorsunuz barışın başkanı olmak üzere o iddiayla
we made the international press too. American dictator, convicted felon Donald Trump appears to threaten sending troops to Chicago. Yahoo News picking it up. I mean, it was everywhere. Thank you. That was a Turkish station. So, oh, man. Well, ABC World News, that's beautiful to see that. Real America's Voice.
It has liberals grabbing the smelling salts yet again. Here's the meme where he's comparing Chicago to Apocalypse Now. Quote, I love the smell of deportations in the morning. And then he actually wrote, quote, Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Brian, what's the latest? Because my understanding is that federal agents are going to go into Chicago this week. I think the question really is, will the National Guard go with them? It's two distinctive things there. You can send the FBI and ATF and all the federal agents you want. Then the National Guard is the next, not next level, but another layer, if you will.
Yeah, David, I think that he will bring in the National Guard in conjunction to this. Now, he was asked before he got on the plane to go to New York for the U.S. Open. A reporter asked him specifically about, are you launching war on Chicago? And, you know, over the weekend they had a free D.C. march. And what I noticed was the buses that they bust all these people in from around the country to come march on D.C. on behalf of people who live in D.C. I saw the National Guard on the way here today. You know what they're doing? They're picking up trash along Constitutional Avenue. I saw about 20 of them. They had their bags and their little devices to pick up the trash. They're working on
cleaning up the city, and we are just kicking off the meme wars right here at the Next News Network. Yeah, everybody, even the front page of the Drudge Report, even. What a wild, wild weekend it's been. If you got value from this report, or just value from the Next News Network in general, hit subscribe. It's time for my final thought. So, Chipocalypse Now isn't just a meme. It's a mirror reflecting the harsh reality of Democrat-run cities. As a Chicago native who's watched my hometown descend into chaos, I created this visual gut punch because sometimes truth needs dramatic flair to break through. The media treated it like Trump declared war on Chicago. No, wrong. He saw it. He saw what I saw. A city where 8 people died last weekend, 7 the week before, 74 wounded. That's the real war. The establishment's meltdown proves that they care more about optics than the bodies that are piling up in our streets. Pritzker, Newsom, they clutch pearls while gangbangers openly challenge the National Guard on video. So what this meme did is it forced a national conversation about Chicago's apocalypse, the murders, the gangs, and the failed policies. So here's the question. Should federal troops override sanctuary city mayors to restore law and order? Drop a yes or no in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let's continue this conversation, and make sure you grab your Next News gear and show the world where you stand at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wow. Hey, what's up, Wayne the Wolf? Good to see you, man. That's my Uber. That was my Uber on the way Monday morning. I had a hangover from drinking all that Cambodian moonshine. Yeah, what's up, man? No, that was cool. That was actually a really cool drive, because when we were talking about, the White House, we were talking about, stuff I was in South Carolina for. And then he asked me if I've ever seen the movie America, Freedom to Fascism. And I was like, oh boy, you just opened up a can. Holy cow, dude. And I told him that I worked directly with Aaron Russo. I worked with him, on the promotion of the film. I, took over his organization when he passed away. So it was really cool. I mean, it was really cool to hear him reference that film. As I'm, doing meme wars with President Trump and accepting awards in South Carolina for my reporting. But just to know that, that movie started me on a trajectory to where we are today. And it's amazing. Amazing. Wayne the Wolf, what's up, man? Good to see you. We got Timmy in the house. We got Rick and Jeff. James. Dennis is in the house. No super chats today? Seriously? Dude, it's Angelo's birthday, and you guys aren't even dropping Angelo any super chats? I mean, what about that victory, that meme war victory we scored? Don't you think that deserves a super chat? Why do I have to guilt you guys? Anyway, I love you. Okay, we got some more news to get to. I'm sure the super chats are going to start flowing in fast now. We got to do some more talk about what's going on in Chicago though, with this operation. What's it called? Midway Blitz. What if they called it Chipocalypse? Oh, that'd be funny. But hey, we scored. What's up? Sure, you in the house. Good to see you. All right, where are we going? Brian, where are we going from here? Okay, let me just get this queued up. All right, this is good news. The Supreme Court just handed President Trump the ultimate weapon. A 6-3 decision. They authorized nationwide ICE sweeps, and Chicago became ground zero. Operation Midway Blitz launched in honor of Katie Abraham, killed by an illegal alien drunk driver who should have been deported years ago. Within hours, ICE agents were pulling convicted child predators out of hiding while Mayor Brandon Johnson scrambled to build walls. Not at the border, but around his courthouses. Tom Homan's message was crystal clear. No goals, no limits, just results until every criminal illegal is gone. Over 1.5 million have already self-deported. But what happened next outside Naval Station Great Lakes will shock you. And don't look away. Now imagine an opportunity that could grow your wealth while also strengthening your country's future. That is the vision behind Western Star Resources. Western Star Resources is an experienced, publicly traded gold and silver exploration company with a proven track record of advancing high-potential projects. The company combines deep geological expertise with modern exploration techniques to unlock value in some of North America's most prospective mineral regions. With domestic demand for precious metals continuing to rise and with the U.S. government backing stronger domestic exploration, Western Star Resources is positioned for the next stage of growth. The company is advancing active projects in Canada and is actively evaluating opportunities in the United States. Could a huge U.S. expansion be on the cards? Well, I wouldn't bet against them or that plan. Western Star Resources, making gold and silver great again. You can check them out in the link in the description, westernstarresources.com. So the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she took the podium today in the White House. Our cameras were there rolling when she made this big announcement for the fourth straight month. Listen.
Disastrous, but new preliminary data released today by Customs and Border Protection in August shows that President Trump has delivered the most secure border in American history. For the fourth straight month, 0 illegal aliens were released into the United States by CBP. Nationwide encounters are down 93%, below the peak of the Biden administration. Border Patrol apprehensions on the southwest border in the entire month of August were less than what was apprehended in 4 days in August 2024 under the Biden administration. President Trump has ended disastrous Biden illegal alien invasion, and he sealed our border in record time, keeping this central promise he made to the American public. New preliminary data released today by...
And then we have this big news about the Supreme Court. This from the press secretary.
Of illegal, this administration is focused on the detention and deportation of illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's immigration laws. And the Supreme Court upheld the Trump administration's right to stop individuals in Los Angeles to briefly question them regarding their legal status because the law allows this, and this has been the practice of the federal government for decades. And the Immigration and Nationality Act states that immigration officers can briefly stop an individual to question them about their immigration status if the officer has reasonable suspicion that the individual is illegally present in the United States. And reasonable suspicion is not just based on race, it's based on a totality of the circumstances to review. And I will tell you, I spoke to our border czar about this morning. When ICE goes out to conduct a targeted operation to deport illegal criminals from our community, they are doing so with intelligence. They are doing so with law enforcement sources. They are doing so in most cases with the backing of local law enforcement who know exactly where these illegal alien criminals and drug traffickers and drug dealers are hiding in plain sight in American communities. And the men and women of ICE are doing everything they can to not only follow the law, but to enforce the law. And it's about time that has happened, because we had 4 years of an administration who completely ignored and evaded our nation's very clear immigration laws, and the Supreme Court has reaffirmed that. This administration...
The Supreme Court reaffirming that he can unleash ICE in Chicago. As you know, we produced that meme that President Trump posted over the weekend, the Chipocalypse Now meme, totally going worldwide. But, it's just a message that President Trump is sending, that we're going to clean up Chicago. The Supreme Court sending the message as well. Here's Tom Homan torching Mika Brzezinski, who's accusing ICE of disappearing people.
You got to wait.
I'd love some transparency as to why a lot of these people have been disappeared. You say you have data. We would love to see it. The American people should see this data.
Well, here's the rhetoric again, right? You just meant disappeared. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because ICE is doing the same thing we've done for decades. But because of the last 4 years, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law. ICE was told to sit back, and you can't arrest an illegal alien for simply being here illegally. You got to wait till they commit a serious crime and get convicted of that crime. That's what Secretary Mayorkas' instructions were. And that's why you saw so much crime in this country coming from the illegal alien population, because there's no law enforcement. But we're doing the same thing right now that we did when I started back in 1984. ICE agents are enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. They're appropriately funding to enforce these laws. If you don't like what ICE is doing, then go protest Congress. However, to say we disappear people, no. We're arresting people that are in the country illegally and are a public safety threat. We know exactly who we're going to arrest when we go look for them. We have a case file in front of us. We have all those facts. This is not disappearing people. This is a planned, targeted enforcement operation that we're doing. And the comments like you just made is one of the reasons why these men and women are under threat every day. Not just the men and women in ICE, but their spouses and their
Look at her face. She says, you're the reason that these people are under threat every single day. Look at her face. Oh, man. I'm going to just tap it back like 10 seconds. Watch her reaction.
And comments like you just made is one of the reasons why these men and women are under threat every day. Not just the men and women in ICE, but their spouses and their children.
Look at her biting her lip. She's going like, oh, yeah, I'm a jerk. In her mind, she says she knows she's guilty of perpetuating those narratives, putting those people's lives at risk.
Not disappearing people. They're enforcing the law. And the data proves that 70% of these people are criminals.
Could we see that data?
Absolutely. I have no problem sharing any data from it. I read it every morning.
I'd love some transparency.
Yeah, how about some transparency from MSNBC? Mayor Karen Bass says she's going to bring justice to the Supreme Court ruling. Really? Yeah.
Let me just say, we will bring justice to this issue, to our community. We will not stand for this type of discrimination and racism. Thank you.
It's not discrimination and it's not racism. These people are here illegally. Okay? It has nothing to do with race. But that's what they play the race card all day long. Here's more. This is 6 hours ago. Tom Homan stunning reporters. Gunter Eagleman writes, after they tried to get him to tone down his goals on deportations. What? You don't get Tom Homan. You don't try to get him to tone anything down.
and identifying themselves or answering questions about that, are those not real?
They will identify themselves in a safety, secure environment. Now, if they're surrounded by a bunch of people who are proposing danger, safety first. Well, I guarantee when someone's arrested and put in detention, they know who arrested them, that person's identifying himself.
Mr. Homan. The Georgia raid.
Pardon me?
Sorry?
I missed you.
On Hyundai?
Hyundai.
The raid in Georgia?
Yeah.
I mean, is the administration in touch with the current government right now? What's sort of the update there? And then also, I mean, how much is the administration doing to work with South Korea on those permits? And then for other companies?
I appreciate the question, but I'm not in the loop on that case. I can just tell you, I'm not in the loop on that one. I'm border czar. I'm doing a lot. I'm not familiar with that case, but I will say this. I said from day one, we're going to increase worksite enforcement operations. It's a crime to enter this country illegally, and it's also a crime to knowingly hire an illegal alien. They drive down wages, and they put companies that hire U.S. citizens out of business. And I can give you many examples of that. Every day, illegal aliens are employed by companies, undercut their competition that hires illegal aliens. They drive wages down.
Okay, but here's what I don't understand. He says I'm out of the loop on that one? That was one of the biggest one-day ICE operations in U.S. history at a specific Hyundai plant. I don't know. How can he be out of the loop on that? Did I hear the question correctly? I don't know. That just seemed like an odd answer to me.
No one hires an illegal alien out of goodness of their heart. They hire them because they can work them harder, pay them less. Just like the farmers. There's a way a farmer can bring someone on, but they got to pay decent wages, got to provide housing. There's a right way and wrong way to do this, and President Trump demanded we do things the right way.
Mr. Homan, can we get some Spanish-speaking surrogates to deliver this message that you're giving, because we have media that refuses to give the correct information, and they're giving the misinformation, causing the fear in the communities. Can we get some Spanish surrogates to go ahead and give them the right information so they know exactly what app to go to, so that they can go and do things the legal and the right way and the law and orderly way?
I think we do, but I agree with you. We could expand that, so I'll take that for action.
Thank you.
How does Operation Midway Blitz differ from...
And wants to make Chicago safe again. And nothing's changing. We're still prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats. It's just we send more resources to sanctuary cities. President Trump said from day one, we're going to prioritize sanctuary cities because that's where the problem is. We know they're releasing public safety threats back in the community every day. We're going to go where the biggest problems are. The biggest problems are sanctuary cities.
What kinds of new resources?
More boots on the ground.
To community members and leaders who are worried about profiling, what do you say? Are due process rights being violated?
No, look. ICE agents aren't racially profiling. The law says you've got to establish reasonable suspicion to detain and question somebody, and I think the men and women, ICE and Border Patrol, are doing exactly that. And I think the Supreme Court disagreed with us in California case. There's a myriad of factors that take into consideration. They learn that in the academy. Every 6 months, ICE agents have a refresher training on 4th Amendment that gives them the rules around detention, seizure, arrest, questioning, and so forth. They're very well trained. They bring a group of factors together until they establish reasonable suspicion to make an arrest. Like the big story was the jumping on back of Van Home Depot, how they established reasonable suspicion. Were they there when they did surveillance? Were they there when license plate numbers were copied and taken down and tried to build a case on who's hiring these people and where these people came from? Were they there when they run NCIC and III and intelligence data? Were they there when they screened social media data? The men and women at ICE do a good job, and they do it professionally, and they do it with integrity. So I think the Supreme Court agreed with us yesterday. Things are being done the right way.
Sir, a few days ago, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, he said on MSNBC that ICE is planning to, quote, invade Chicago. He later shared resources with...
The only invasion that occurred was 10.5 million illegal aliens came to our border and invaded this country and were illegally released into the United States in defiance of federal law. Federal law says you come to our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not think about it. Not releasing them to NGO. You know what happened in the 4 years, which no one talks about? Why did it release millions of people into the United States when there are thousands of empty ICE beds? Why did they do that? Because if you're in ICE detention, you get a hearing within 35, 40 days. 90% lose their case. They simply don't qualify for asylum. They get on an airplane, they get sent home. That's not what they wanted. Release them to an NGO. The hearings are 5, 7, 9 years out if you go through the entire appeal process. What happens then? They're hoping for another Democratic leadership that can warrant amnesty to millions of people. They sold this country out for future political power. President Trump is enforcing the law. That's one thing no one wants to talk about. ICE isn't making it up. They're enforcing the law. That's what they're doing. Because it hasn't been enforced in 4 years, and everybody's shocked right now what ICE is doing. They've been doing this since I started in 1984. They've been doing this for decades, but because the last 4...
Man. Tom Homan, right there. 6-3 decision, Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration, allowing ICE to resume aggressive immigration raids in California. Justice Sonia Sotomayor dissented, warning against targeting people who look Latino or speak Spanish. Of course she would. Here is the news as it broke.
Ago, the Supreme. All right, we tap this new hour with the Fox News alert, and breaking just moments ago, the Supreme Court handing the Trump administration's sweeping immigration agenda a major victory. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and Bill, I might add that father.
So, yeah, you know what this means, right? It means that the gloves are off, that he can go into Chicago and get things done. DHS Homeland Security posting this 24 hours ago. DHS launching Operation Midway Blitz in honor of Katie Abraham. This ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flock to Chicago.
Scene.
A video posted by Homeland Security. Here is National Border Patrol Council President Paul Perez.
They're enforcing immigration law as it is on the books. You know, these are targeted enforcement actions. You know, we use a number of factors to determine where we're going to go and who we're going to go after. And many of these people, they run as soon as our agents and officers get there. So that as well is an articulable fact that can be used for reasonable suspicion. And we can go after them, we can chase them down, and then our investigation begins to determine whether this person's legally or illegally in the country, and then we take them into custody based on, you know, the answers that they give. So, you know, Karen Bass and those other Democrats that are demonizing our agents, they need to stop, because it makes it a lot more dangerous for our agents to do the job that they were trained and swore to do. They're enforcing immigration.
And that's their whole point. They want to make it harder for them. Here's Tom Homan on CNN.
American City. So the governor of Illinois responded to President Trump's post. He wrote, quote, "The president of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city."
There's my meme again. Holy cow.
This is not a joke. This is not normal. Donald Trump isn't a strong man. He's a scared man. Illinois won't be intimidated by a wannabe dictator, unquote. Is President Trump planning to go to war in Chicago?
Oh, my goodness.
Look, I think it's worth being taken out of context. If I say we're going to war, we're going to war with the criminal cartels. We're going to war with illegal aliens, public safety threats that rape children, that raped citizens, that committed armed robberies, that distribute narcotics that kill Americans. We're at war with the criminal cartels, and Governor Pritzker protects criminal, illegal alien, public safety threats every day in that state, along with Mayor Johnson. We proved that. The first week of the administration, I went to Chicago. I started an operation there. The first day, we arrested 9 sexual predators, most of them child rapists. We arrested 9 members of TDA. Several of those TDA members had a pistol, an illegal pistol with a switch on it, which makes that pistol fully automatic. We arrested 2 illegal aliens that had a homicide conviction. That was the first day in Chicago. So, you know, President Trump and this administration, yeah, we're at war with the criminal cartels and those who want to murder and rape American citizens. You're damn right.
So maybe it should say criminal aliens in Chicago are about to find out why it's called the Department of War, not Chicago itself. The governor of Illinois responded.
I wrote it that way specifically, okay? I didn't intend to make it, you know, specific to your demographic, pal. That's so funny. Holy cow, that's hilarious. Let's see here. Chicago One Ray. Still think Trump is playing? He just fined 2 illegals $300,000 who overstayed their visas.
Filed by Justice.
The president wants them to pay up and get out.
Investigative reporter Hilda Gutierrez joins us now with the exclusive story. Hilda.
These civil lawsuits were filed by Justice Department attorneys just this week. They were looking to collect more than $300,000 combined from 2 Bay Area immigrants accused of staying in the country after a judge ordered their removal. But immigration attorneys argue the penalties are excessive and unconstitutional.
The notices from ICE showed up in June at a San Francisco apartment in the Mission and another in San Bruno. The letter stating 2 undocumented immigrants were being hit with hefty fines. The reason? For not leaving the country after a judge ordered their removal when they missed hearings in immigration court. One of them was given a deportation order in July of last year and now faces $300,000 in fines. The other missed her hearing this past March and owes more than $40,000.
So we are expecting to see.
Yeah. If you mess around, you're going to find out. Wow. What's this? Michael Stover of Downers Grove posted that he would do something horrible to ICE agents. Now it was in federal custody. Wow, okay, let's take a look at the local news on that. Downers Grove, that's not too far from me.
In this picture, the I-Team tonight following the arrest of a man the FBI says threatened to kill federal agents. Federal authorities say Michael Stover of Downers Grove made multiple posts online threatening to kill ICE agents and was already known to law enforcement for allegedly threatening public officials, also on social media earlier this year. You can see the suspect, 33-year-old Michael Stover, in this picture posted to his wife's public Facebook page. He was taken into custody by federal agents this morning and made his first appearance in federal court this afternoon, facing charges he threatened to kill immigration agents and harm public officials. Authorities say he previously possessed multiple weapons, but in May of 2025, Downers Grove police deemed Stover a clear and present danger, and following a domestic disturbance call, seized 5 rifles, a shotgun, 6 handguns, and ammunition, including 5 rifle rounds with the first names of well-known political figures written in marker, according to court documents. He also posted a photograph of those 5 rifle bullets placed on top of 2 hunting knives to a Facebook group, authorities say. Stover's FOID card was revoked by Illinois State Police on May 8th, according to court filings. He was active and exceedingly extreme online, even through last night, authorities say, posting on his Blue Sky account, "ICE is a terrorist organization. Share this if you think we should shoot them down like dogs. ICE is a private military answering exclusively to powers hostile to the United States and the people. It is unconscionable that we do not hunt and lynch them for treason." In May of 2025, the Secret Service was alerted to his posts by the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, previously posting, according to the FBI, "There is a time for rhetoric and a time for riflery," and was interviewed by the U.S. Secret Service following his alleged threats to the president. The federal complaint also stating authorities were told Stover at one point took medication for his mental health. Stover did not enter a plea. He will be back in court next week for a detention hearing and will remain in federal custody at least until then.
Yeah, you just found out too, buddy. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what winning looks like, folks. The Supreme Court just gave ICE the green light to do their job, and Operation Midway Blitz is delivering justice for Katie Abraham and countless other American victims. Juan Gaspar, convicted, gone. 1.5 million illegals self-deporting because they know the game's over. But watch the contrast. While ICE agents risk their lives removing predators, protesters wave Mexican flags outside of Naval Station Great Lakes, literally showing us where to send them. Mayor Johnson allegedly deploying salt trucks to block federal agents. Governor Pritzker building walls around courthouses. Karen Bass calls it racism to remove convicted criminals. They're choosing illegal alien felons over American families every single time. Tom Homan's zero tolerance policy is working. Threaten an ICE agent, go to jail, period. So here's my question. Should sanctuary city officials face federal charges for obstructing justice? Drop your answer below. And if you want to support our efforts here, check out shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and check out our patriotic merch collection. All right, man. All right, we got one super chat. Let's see, it's $2. Wait, we got what is that, CC? Cece became a member. What's up, Cece? And AJ Cruz just became a member. Welcome to the family. And wait. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. I wanted to hit the applause button. There we go. And AJ Cruz dropping $2. Trophy flag. Thank you, AJ, for sharing that. Okay. We are staying on our law and order theme because it needs to be driven home. President Trump is not holding back. Okay. Let's see here. All right, Brian, we can continue. Imagine being a judge who releases a violent criminal and 48 hours later, an innocent mother is dead. Now imagine being sued personally for that decision. That's exactly what Representative Randy Fine wants to make reality after Iryna Zarutska was murdered by DeCarlos Brown Jr., a repeat offender who should have been behind bars. Fine's revolutionary bill would strip judges of their immunity shield when they knowingly release dangerous predators. The black-robed elites who play Russian roulette with public safety while hiding behind armed bailiffs are about to face real accountability. Even Elon Musk backed this with his signature approval. The judicial revolution has arrived and activist judges are running scared. So here's what's coming. But first, a word from our sponsor. Imagine an opportunity that could grow your wealth while also strengthening your country's future. That's the vision behind Western Star Resources. Western Star Resources is an experienced, publicly traded gold and silver exploration company with a proven track record in advancing high-potential projects. The company combines deep geological expertise with modern exploration techniques to unlock the value in some of North America's most prospective mineral regions. With domestic demand for precious metals continuing to rise and with the U.S. government backing stronger domestic exploration, Western Star Resources is positioned for the next stage of growth. The company is advancing active projects in Canada and is actively evaluating opportunities in the United States. So could a huge U.S. expansion plan be on the cards? I wouldn't bet against them or that plan. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. Check them out in the link in the description, westernstarresources.com. The press secretary today discussing the savage murder of Iryna Zarutska. Horrific video surfaced over the weekend of that murder, that poor defenseless woman. Oh, yeah, the media completely silent on it. Let's listen what she had to say.
Once again, without...
Oh, where'd it go? Sorry.
Bail. Today, I would like to address the tragedy that has not received nearly enough media attention, the brutal murder of Iryna Zarutska. Here are the facts that many outlets have shamefully and intentionally failed to report until President Trump drew attention to it. On August 22nd, Iryna Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a savage career criminal. This is a public transportation system that many in the area use every single day to go to school and work. Iryna was on the train that night traveling home from her job at a pizzeria, still in uniform from her shift. This beautiful, innocent 23-year-old young woman was a Ukrainian refugee who had recently fled her country for a chance at a safer life and a promising new beginning here in the United States of America. But tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left. The president and the entire White House are praying for her family and friends during this unimaginably difficult time. But while we extend our thoughts and prayers, we must also seek justice for this crime and call attention to this heinous incident. Surveillance video of the killing was finally released to the public this past Friday. It shows the alleged killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., pull out a knife, get up from his seat behind Iryna, and prepare to thrust a blade into her neck before the released footage gets cut. This is pure evil on full display. The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. DeCarlos Brown has been charged with crimes no fewer than 14 times, dating back to 2011, including for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written promise and come back again another day. This is madness. This monster should have been locked up, and Iryna should still be alive. But Democrat politicians, liberal judges, and weak prosecutors would rather virtue signal than lock up criminals and protect their communities. And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer. Here's the truth that every American must know. Too many innocent people across the country continue to pay the price of the failed experiment known as cashless bail that has been championed by the Democrat Party for years. All the way back in 2020, North Carolina's then Democrat Governor Roy Cooper established a so-called task force for racial equity in criminal justice. Sounds nice, but it's not. That task force was co-authored by then Attorney General and current Democrat Governor Josh Stein. It recommended, quote, reimagining public safety to, quote, promote diversion and other alternatives to arrest. It also advised to de-emphasize some felony crimes, prioritize, quote, restorative justice, and eliminate cash bail. Democrats in North Carolina and nationwide are consumed with pushing a woke, soft-on-crime agenda, no matter how many innocent Americans suffer as a result. Instead of aggressively prosecuting and locking up violent criminals, the Democrat-backed cashless bail approach lets these criminals roam free in our country to offend again and again. These reckless policies have turned too many of American cities into hunting grounds for career criminals who mock our justice system, drain law enforcement resources, and wreak havoc on law-abiding citizens. Enough is enough, and that is why President Trump is doing everything in his power by taking action to undo these absurd policies. The president recently signed a powerful executive order directing the AG to submit a list of states and local jurisdictions with cashless bail policies so that the Trump administration may identify federal funds that are being provided to these states and can potentially be suspended or terminated. President Trump firmly believes that to maintain order in public safety, we must incarcerate individuals whose pending criminal charges or criminal history demonstrate a clear, ongoing risk to civil society. This is a common sense and sensible approach that the vast majority of Americans agree with, and it's time for the Democrat Party to get on board with what is right. When these criminals are caught, they must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and be sent to prison, where they can no longer terrorize our streets. This is the mandate the American people delivered to President Trump, and it's a mandate he intends to fulfill. Today, I would...
Oh, wow. CNN siding with the man who stabbed Iryna in the throat and downplayed the attack. They shamed anyone calling it racist and ignored the audio where he bragged about getting a white girl. Clown World posting this.
Along with it.
Want to be there.
Yeah, and it's
about forcing them to be there.
When you are mentally ill, you have a hard time knowing that you are mentally ill. But also, I mean, people like Charlie Kirk, they've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And That's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game, and it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
Let me just say a couple of things. One is, what happened to that young woman was horrible. And it's everybody's nightmare. If you're in any public space, subway, whatever, that something bad is going to happen to you or somebody you care about. So it does strike a chord. We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass. Even when you had a white police officer murder a black man on live television, the whole world saw, there were no sweeping changes. In fact, not one law was passed at the federal level. So I think that's an important thing to point out. The other thing is, you mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible, but it becomes an opportunity for people to jump on bandwagons. And then for someone like Charlie Kirk, he should be ashamed of himself. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him. What people mention is the horror of what happened to this young woman.
Want to be there.
Yeah, and it's
about
difficult
forcing them to be there.
When you are mentally ill, you have a hard.
And speaking of Charlie Kirk, we get this just in 4 hours ago. He posted that President Trump has just released a video on the killing of Iryna Zarutska.
People. For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
President Trump issuing a proclamation from the Oval Office, and Charlie Kirk calling out CNN's Van Jones, responding.
He puts race in a... Well, first of all, as you aptly noted, that in the video, it's pretty clear that the attacker said, quote, that white girl. Secondly, Van Jones, he puts race in almost every situation where it doesn't exist. For example, with the death of George Floyd, Van Jones repeatedly said that it was a racist attack. You know who didn't say that? Keith Ellison, who is the Attorney General of Minnesota at the time, said that race did not play any role in the actions that happened with George Floyd's death. But even beyond that, And I think this is what's very important, is that we are living in a mental model and a framing post-2020. The 2020 model is that the worst thing that could possibly happen is racial attacks. Remember, even before that, Jussie Smollett or the FBI being mobilized for even the slightest whisper of a hate crime. But now, all of a sudden, when we make the left live up to their own standard of rules, there is complete silence by the entire American media. And then Van Jones goes on television and calls me a race hustler for even calling out the facts and the specifics around this case. Now, this is quite interesting, because why is it the media was so quiet on this? You got to wonder, Will, because if the roles were reversed, and I tweeted this out and I will stand by it, if a white attacker was minding his own business and a perfectly law-abiding black individual was minding her own business, and that white attacker took out a knife and was relentlessly hacking a law-abiding black girl, you and I both know, Will, this would be national headlines, and there'd be more than 0 headlines, as you pointed out on your show yesterday. And so Van Jones, he wants to keep on trying to find racial motives that don't exist, and he ignores them when they're in broad daylight in front of him on recorded video and a horrendous attack such as this. The media doesn't care about this, and we should start asking why. Well, first of all...
Yeah. Well said, Charlie. Well said, Mr. President. This is an image that was released just recently. The horror moments before her demise. So sad. I don't even know where to go from here. Here's the press secretary providing an update on the president's successful D.C. crime crackdown.
Who were arrested. I do have some updates for you on the D.C. crime crackdown if anyone is interested. There have been a total of 2,177 arrests made since the start of the operation on August 7th. Just last night, there were 57 arrests made in Washington, D.C. Of the 57 arrests, there were 14 illegal aliens who were arrested, many of whom had prior criminal histories. And other arrests just last night in our nation's capital, so you all can be very grateful for this. Our great men and women of law enforcement, both federal and local, working together as they should, made an arrest on a warrant for assault with the intent to kill. The subject shot 2 adult males after an altercation. They made an arrest on a warrant for an armed carjacking. The subject assaulted an adult male in the face with a firearm and then took his keys. We also made an arrest on a warrant for simple assault and the destruction of property and subsequently charged with second-degree theft. Last night in D.C., there was an arrest for possession of a controlled substance with second-degree theft. There was an arrest for possession of a controlled substance with the intent to distribute. That subject, the person is also a subject of interest in a homicide and a carjacking. Last night in D.C., we also arrested a felon in possession of a firearm who was carrying that firearm without a license. So these are the career criminals. These are the bad guys that we are picking up in Washington, D.C. every day. The president would love to do this in every Democrat-run city across the country, and he hopes that more Democrats will call the White House to allow us to help them.
But of course they won't, because that would admit their failure. Here is Congressman Randy Fine writing, DeCarlos Brown Jr. should have never been released. Iryna Zarutska should still be alive. To the judges who put violent criminals back on our streets, your day in court is coming.
By someone who By now, many of you have seen the horrific video of Iryna Zarutska, an immigrant to the United States from Ukraine, who was literally stabbed to death while sitting on a bus by someone who never should have been out of jail. A guy who was released more than a dozen times, a violent criminal, by some wackadoo liberal judge who gets to live behind gated fences and has armed guards protecting them. Well, that's going to stop now. I will be filing legislation to hold every judge in the United States personally responsible when they release violent criminals back onto the streets. If they want to release them back onto the streets, they're going to be responsible if they do something bad. I guarantee this will solve the problem. Look for that bill to drop the minute we have it finished. By now, many of you have seen the horrific video of Iryna.
So it looks like the judges are going to be held accountable if they continue to release these violent offenders back on the streets. Here's more from the congressman on Fox Business. Why should leftist judges be protected when they willingly let violent criminals back onto the streets? And this super chat just came in from Wayne the Wolf. He asked the question, what about holding the judges accountable for releasing him? If bartenders can be held responsible for over-serving drunks, then judges should be held accountable for releasing people like Mr. Brown. So that's what's happening. We have this from the congressman on Fox Business.
If you're a bartender, well, I think we've got to hold judges accountable. Look, if you're a bartender who gives too many alcoholic beverages to a customer in the bar and they kill someone on the way home, you get held responsible. So why should a judge who's protected by an armed bailiff get off the hook when they let these killers into our streets? What my bill will do is allow the family of one of these victims to sue the judge personally and hold them accountable for the crime that they allowed to happen.
Looks like the congressman directly addressed Mr. Wayne the Wolf's remarks. Let's continue. I think we have some more Fox News writing. It's easy to release criminals when you're protected by an armed bailiff at all times. The rest of us aren't so lucky. Republican Representative Randy Fine is calling for judges to face consequences if violent repeat offenders they release go on to commit crimes. I don't even want to play the video. You guys can find it. President Trump announcing senseless crime in Democrat-run cities and the horrific murder of a young woman in Charlotte by a deranged monster. It's time to stop this madness. Republican pushes bill to hold judges accountable for releasing violent repeat criminals. New York City is becoming safer under Trump. Is that right? Let's see what we have here.
Telling you, Trump cleaned up Midtown Manhattan in New York City. I am literally telling you, every single day, right here where the Empire State Building is at, this is 34th, whatever, and Broadway 6th Avenue, right? They intersect there. This right here, this whole area, wrapped around left and right, you usually have your freaking illegals with the blankets out, selling like bootleg stuff. It has been empty since Trump started deporting people. Like rain, sleet, or snow, this whole block, that whole block over there, all this would be laid out with bootleg stuff by illegals. This whole strip gone. I haven't seen them for about a week. Have not seen them. That side as well. He cleaned it up. This is incredible. Look at this. I have not seen this in years. I am telling you that all the illegals are gone from here. They're hiding. They're not out here bootlegging. It is feeling a little bit safer starting to like this. Trump.
So they clearly got the memo. They understand that they're not playing games anymore. Bootleggers, illegals, criminals. There's a new sheriff in town. His name's President Trump. Meanwhile, Democrats are out protesting, demanding more crime because stopping crime is racism. Adam Lowett's posting this. Massive protests begun in D.C. over President Trump's crackdown on crime. Of course, this is over the weekend. Here's President Trump outside of Air Force One talking about making D.C. safe again.
Saturday, actually. You have essentially a crime-free zone. I mean, here we are on a nice Sunday evening. If you'd like, it feels like Saturday, actually. If you like, you could go out and you could have dinner on me, but you wouldn't do that. But you could have dinner on me if you'd like. Go ahead, what else? You have essentially a crime.
President Trump, here's Stephen Miller on making D.C. safe again.
Of course, we've seen, and you're only seeing the very beginnings of this. So, during the first few weeks, of course, we've seen these radical reductions in violent crime. We're just getting started. DEA, ATF, FBI have only just begun to identify, disrupt, and dismantle the criminal organizations that have been wreaking havoc on the city for so long. And we're going to take them apart, member by member, group by group, piece by piece, and we're going to set this city free. And you're only seeing the very beginnings of this. So
you're only seeing the beginning. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So Randy Fine just dropped a truth bomb. that's shaking the judicial establishment to its core. Iryna Zarutska is dead because a judge decided a violent predator deserved another chance. That blood is on the judge's hands, and fines bill would make them pay, literally. Think about it. Judges sit behind bulletproof glass, protected by armed bailiffs, making life and death decisions about our safety while they're from their ivory towers. Meanwhile, we're out here defenseless when their social experiments go wrong, and Fine nailed it. Why should leftist judges be protected when they willingly let violent criminals back on our streets? Even Elon Musk gets it. His 100% endorsement says it all. And Trump's Make DC Safe Again proves that the model works. Crime is collapsing, streets are clean, order restored, even in New York City. Now it's time to clean up the courts. So here's the question. Should judges face mandatory minimums for releasing repeat violent offenders? Yes or no? Sound off below. Let's continue the conversation and grab some Next News gear on your way out at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. All right, we got Daddy Crab. Got any eyes on Chicago, Gary? Actually, Thursday, there's going to be a press conference, and I'm going to try to get up to Great Lakes Naval Base and do some investigating up there. So expect some on-the-street reporting on Thursday. We'll post that on X first, and then we'll cover it in the evening. So there you go. Thank you, Daddy Crab, for that $2. Irving, what's up, man? Early show today, G. Glad I caught it when I left work. What's up, Irving? Thank you for the 20 spot. Much appreciated. And Wayne the Wolf, my Uber driver from yesterday morning. What about holding the judges accountable for releasing him? If bartenders can be held responsible for over-serving drunks, then judges should be held accountable for releasing people like Mr. Brown. Yep, you heard the answer from that congressman, Wayne. So thank you for your $9.99. Much appreciated. All right. We're going to shift gears into that UAP hearing that occurred today. Let's see. Let's get into it. Todd, if you could, can you please, looks like there's something from last year. New video here, Lockheed Martin executive, 18 hours ago. Yeah, could you try to update it with some more current stuff from the UAP hearing? Thank you. All right, let's see. Truth needs to be known. 6 minutes. Congress has been presented. Okay, well, I think we can start with Luna. We got the Tic Tac Toe video coming in too. This is 6 hours ago. All right, I think I know where to begin here. All right. For decades, they called us conspiracy theorists. Weather balloons, they said, swamp gas, mass hysteria. Today, under oath before Congress, that narrative died. Navy Chief Alex Wiggins testified about the self-luminous Tic Tac objects bursting from the ocean, filmed by the USS Jackson. Air Force veteran Dylan Borland described craft 2 stories tall hovering over Langley Air Force Base. 5 separate incidents at Vandenberg involving 100-foot objects. Then came the bombshell. Army Colonel Karl Nell declared non-human intelligence is real and has been engaging humanity for a long time. George Knapp confirming that Lockheed Martin negotiated to hand over UFO crash materials. This is not fringe anymore. This is congressional record. And the truth is finally here. Now, first, a word from our sponsor. Imagine an opportunity that could grow your wealth while also strengthening your country's future. That is the vision behind Western Star Resources. Western Star Resources is an experienced, publicly traded gold and silver exploration company with a proven track record in advancing high-potential projects. The company combines deep geological expertise with modern exploration techniques to unlock value in some of North America's most prospective mineral regions. With domestic demand for precious metals continuing to rise and with the U.S. government backing stronger domestic exploration, Western Star Resources is positioned for the next stage of growth. The company is advancing active projects in Canada and is actively evaluating opportunities in the United States. Could a huge U.S. expansion plan be on the cards? Well, I wouldn't bet against them or that plan. Western Star Resources, making gold and silver great again. Check them out in the link in the description. So we told you about this hearing last week, and now it has happened. Representative Luna at the hearing, evidence of tech beyond human capability. Oh, buckle up, folks.
In recent months, Congress has also been presented with evidence that points to technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities. It is our duty as elected representatives to follow the facts wherever they lead and to ensure that those facts are not buried under classification stamps or bureaucratic excuses. Let me be clear, whether UAPs represent adversarial technology, natural phenomena, or something beyond current human understanding, Congress has a responsibility to investigate. If these objects are foreign in origin, then they pose a direct threat to our national security. And if they represent something unknown, they demand rigorous scientific inquiry, not ridicule, not secrecy, and not silence. The stakes are very high. Adversarial nations are not waiting for us to catch up. They are studying these phenomena as well aggressively, as multiple nations have also announced their own parliamentary investigations into this very topic. If we are to continue to hide information from ourselves, we risk strategic surprise. If we continue to ignore our pilots and service members, as well as countless government whistleblowers, we risk losing their trust. And if we continue to shield the truth from the public, we risk eroding the very foundation of democratic accountability. This is why this hearing matters. This is not about fueling speculation. This is about demanding the basic transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community and other military contractors. It is about asking the questions every American has the right to ask. What do we know? What don't we know? And why in a free society are we being told so little? In recent months, Congress has also been presented with evidence that points to technologies
Representative Luna right there. Congress has been presented with evidence that points to technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities. Wow. Oh, my goodness. The truth, man, there's so much here. Here's the UFO footage released at the UAP hearing. See it in the crosshairs. What is that thing? That's the Tic Tac.
You call it the VVSS team.
Yeah, like 22,000 feet.
That shit took off. He's like, it took off. UAP hearing, 5 witnesses, 1 new video. This one's special. Some of the people that will testify have firsthand experience objects that are quite unusual, 100 feet in size, very close to them. The claim is 5 UAP incidents occurred at Vandenberg. Here's News Nation.
Witnesses will discuss 5 witnesses are set to testify on Capitol Hill at a hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. UFOs. It's Congress's latest attempt in demanding maximum transparency from the federal government and restoring the public's trust. Those 5 key witnesses will discuss what they've seen in the skies. That includes that massive glowing red square and unidentified objects that some say they saw hovering over California's Vandenberg Air Force Base all the way back in 2003. Joining me now is Director at the Institute for Theory and Computation for Harvard University, Avi Loeb. Professor, welcome back, sir. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I was thinking this morning, it's been a while, right, since we've had one of these UAP hearings. Are you expecting anything new or different that we haven't seen before?
Well, this one is special in the sense that some of the people that will testify have their first-hand experience with unidentified phenomena, and it's really interesting to read those written testimonies that they already provided, in which they say that there are objects that are quite unusual, 100 feet in size, that were very close to them, you know, we need to understand where these reports are coming from. Between 2003 and 2005, the claim is that 5 UAP incidents occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base, home to the National Missile Defense Project. So, you know, at the very least, this is a major national security concern.
Yeah, I'm looking at the witness list here. You've got a couple U.S. Air Force veterans who are UAP witnesses. You've got a UAP journalist as well. A source telling our D.C. correspondent Joe Khalil that today's hearing will feature at least 3 videos of unknown origin. One of them, at least, has never, ever been seen or shown publicly before. 5 witnesses are set to testify on.
Okay, let's see if we can find some more for you here. Okay, UAP witness Dylan Borland testifying about witnessing a black triangle UFO at today's hearing. According to whistleblower Edgar Fuchs, the Teledyne Ryan Corporation out of San Diego were developing another top-secret craft alongside the TR-3A Black Manta program. U.S. Air Force top-secret nuclear-powered flying triangle, the TR-3B. Crew compartment requires a crew of 4 minimum. Rotates with AC angle of attack and heading. Variable vectored intakes when pointed forward. 1 of 3 hydrogen oxygen variable vectored rocket engines. Landing pads. Wow. Yeah, the TR-3B, I've heard of this before. And people often mistake it for a UFO, but it is one of our own, apparently, TR-3B. Okay, never before seen video of an alleged UAP off the coast of Yemen in October 2024, shown by Representative Eric Burleson, Republican of Missouri, at a congressional hearing on an unidentified anomalous phenomenon. What the hell is that? And George Knapp responds. Listen.
Actively blocking information. Look, I'm not jumped to the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet. But I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
It appears to be flying in the center of the frame there. It's hard to make it out. Holy cow. What the hell?
This is when it zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling.
Classified?
So, Mr. Knapp, have you heard about events like this occurring? And what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally, some of that stuff gets out in the wild, and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah. What the hell is that?
So
flies like that?
again, I'm not going to speculate what it is, but the question is, why are we being blocked from this information consistently?
Oh my goodness. Oh my. Okay, post-hearing instant reaction with Eric Burleson, Stephen Diner.
It's a relief.
Hey guys, Stephen Diener here at UAP, live from Capitol Hill with Representative Eric Burleson. The hearing just ended on UAPs, and Eric, great job, amazing. You showed the video of the egg-shaped UAP getting hit, and nothing happened by that Hellfire missile. So what was your reaction now that that's out there for everybody to see that?
For me, it's a relief to get that out there. You know, there was a lot of stress involved in a decision matrix and whether or not what to do with this. And look, I'm being very vulnerable to the American people. I don't know. This video may be faked. It may be AI. It may be something that's just very prosaic. But I just want the American people to know that I'm just, rather than sit on it and try to gatekeep it, I'm going to be fully transparent, and I think that we need to have that posture, a posture of be transparent until we know we have to classify things.
Were you satisfied with today, now that's all said and done?
Yes. I mean, building up these hearings is a ton of work, and I thought Anna did a fantastic job.
Last question, and I'll let you go. What are the chances that the subpoenas do happen from the Oversight Committee towards Sean Kirkpatrick or anybody else involved with covering this secret up?
We'll see. Anna, I think, is a bulldog. I think she's going to pursue what's necessary, and so we'll see.
Representative Burleson right here, Stephen Diener, UAP. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Here is a self-luminous Tic Tac object emerging from the ocean. Navy Chief Wiggins testifies before Congress about a Tic Tac UFO filmed in 2023 by the USS Jackson.
Subordinate. My name is Alexandro Wiggins. I'm an active duty U.S. Navy Operations Specialist, Senior Chief Petty Officer. Father of three and dedicated American testifying today in my personal capacity. The views I share are my own, and I do not represent the official positions of the Department of the Navy or any subordinate organization. On the evening of February 15th, 2023, at approximately 19:15 PST, in the Whiskey 291 warning area off the coast of Southern California, I was serving on board USS Jackson. During that period, I moved between the Interior Communications Center, ICC-1, and the bridge wing, correlating the sensor picture with visual observations, part of my routine responsibilities for surface and air picture management. What I observed and what our crew recorded was not consistent with conventional aircraft or drones as they appear on our system. A self-luminous Tic Tac shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with three other similar objects. The four then disappeared simultaneously with a high synchronized near instantaneous acceleration. I observed no sonic boom and no conventional propulsion signatures. No exhaust plume, no control surface articulation on the Sapphire image system. Shortly after the synchronized departure, radar tracks dropped. These observations were multi-sensor and recorded inside of ICC-1 with time location overlay visible in our source frames that have been made public by journalists. From my experience operating in this region over many years and consistent with our public characterized encounters, unidentified objects reoccur in United States operation areas off Southern California. My name is Alexandro Wiggins. I'm an active duty.
Americans, let's see here. We have this. After becoming a whistleblower, veteran Dylan Borland told members of Congress at the UAP hearing as he testified for the first time publicly he became a whistleblower after facing retaliation, medical malpractice, and workplace harassment. Let's see. Okay, let's go to Luna talking to Borland about his experience.
Great question, ma'am. So on the base, I lived in the barracks. There was a little smoke pit outside. I was there on the telephone and looking across to the flight line, and I see a white light pop up and stop about 100 feet in the air. I thought it was a weather balloon. I've seen tests from there before, weeknight, normal thing, not surprising. I actually finished my cigarette and I began walking up towards the flight line. There is a track, and because I was on 3 months of night work, I would walk the track at night when we were weather down. And as I began walking towards the light, towards the flight line and the track, the light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. I can't tell you if it's active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light and then it was a triangle. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead. I remember how thick it was. It was between 1 to 2 stories thick, equilateral triangle. I could never see the top of it, and the edges were 90 degrees. There were 4 lights in total, 1 light on each corner and a larger light in the center, 2 to 3 times the size of the corner lights. But what was really odd was the outside. The best way to describe it is like looking at a James Webb telescope picture where you have the colors and then the black background. So the craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold, lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft. I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion, and I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm, that really strong summer thunderstorm smell. Gets up to flight level. I'm trying to get my phone reset, and I can only see the center light at this point. If I didn't actually see it take off, I would have thought it was a star. And then it hovers up there, and it begins to slowly move due east out over the Atlantic Ocean. I finally got my phone reset. The entire thing was about, from the time I saw the light pop up near the hangar until it took off out over the ocean, was about 15 minutes.
And following up to that question, after you disclose this information to the intelligence community, Inspector General, you're subject to phishing attempts and job blacklisting. How widespread do you think this is across the intelligence community for those who raise concerns regarding UAP programs?
It's a difficult question to answer. I think prior to David Grush and people beginning this process of bringing people into awareness of the reality of these programs and certain things people have witnessed, probably extremely widespread. I think today there's still an issue, but because people are able to come before you and people are speaking out, I think it has been somewhat less. I would hope, though, that people would, because if this goes back into closed doors, this is going to get really ugly.
What type of behavior have you witnessed from former Aero Director Sean Kilpatrick as well as his staff in relate to this information you provided to them? Did they ever try to classify this information as non-human technology?
Good question. The problem with this is that I know what I experienced firsthand, and I know other things. I think the staff at Aero that I met with in March of 2023, I think they were good people doing the job they were told to do. I did not meet with Kirkpatrick. He was either not present or did not want to meet me that day. However, they did classify information about the reality of this subject, and it was very concerning because in my Aero MFR, they had actually referenced a former staff member that was the one who told me to go there, and they probably shouldn't have done that.
And real quick before my time is up, and we might go to second round of questioning just so you're all aware, how important, given everything that you've seen and experienced, is the UAP Disclosure Act of 2025 in restoring both public accountability and trust?
I think very important. I would hope, though, that the 7-year window could be shrunk, my opinion, but very important. The truth needs to be known.
The truth needs to be known. Here's more from that video footage. Someone says we're cavemen throwing rocks to these things. They shot a Hellfire missile at this UAP, and it just deflected it. Look at that. Just bounced right off of it. Wow. I think we have some more here from the hearing. Let's keep looking for... let's see. Here's Lockheed Martin exec and Army Colonel Karl Nell. Non-human intelligence is real.
And so what else on this topic would not be possible without the support and grassroots efforts of the folks that are participating in this chat and the folks that are in your guys' orbit. And so what actually is this topic, right? And Ross and Lou also have alluded to this. Non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity on this planet. This interaction is ongoing and it's not new. And there is zero doubt. But you already knew that. So how do we go about convincing other people that this is the case? Particularly people that aren't necessarily privy to all the information that some of us may otherwise be. And so there's three principal lines of effort, three principal sources of data. There's essentially the first principles argument, which basically says, counter to common belief, that life is common in the universe. How do we know life should be common in the universe? There's 20 billion sun-like stars in the universe. The sun is a population 1 star. There are planets like this, there's stars like the sun that are 5 billion years older than the sun. That's plenty of time for other civilizations to evolve on these other planets. There is recent scholarship that says that life evolved on Earth in the Hadean era. The Hadean era was before the crust even cooled. There's recent scholarship that says that microbes have been found in terrestrial rock that have dated to 2 billion years ago, essentially in stasis. So life evolved here very quickly. There are many, many planets like the sun, and there are many, many planets that are much older than the sun. People that would argue that life is uncommon have to justify that proposition more.
Let's go to George Knapp's testimony here on Bigelow's attempt to acquire physical evidence of UFO crashes from Lockheed Martin.
Program was active. The one name I do want to bring up in this session, though, is Robert Bigelow. So looking into the idea of crash retrievals and reverse engineering, while OSAP, that program, was active, the DIA's contractor, Robert Bigelow of Las Vegas, made a bold attempt to acquire physical proof of UFO crashes. It's been widely reported and suspected that Lockheed Martin is one of the contractors, the defense contractors, that has held this stuff, stored it away in secrecy, and tried to figure out how it works. I have confirmed on the record that Robert Bigelow and a trusted colleague from OSAP met with and negotiated with senior executives at Lockheed Martin and hammered out a deal wherein Bigelow's company, Bass, would receive a quantity of unusual material that had been stashed away and protected at a facility in California. That material was not made here. The one...
Oh my goodness. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Changes everything. We just witnessed the Pentagon's deepest secret crumble under oath. Navy chiefs confirming glowing Tic Tacs emerged from oceans. Air Force veterans describing two-story craft defying physics. Colonel Karl Nell, not some blogger, but an Army colonel and Lockheed exec, stating plainly non-human intelligence exists and has been here all along. And the timing isn't coincidental. Trump renames defense to Department of War, launches Operation Midway Blitz against terrestrial threats, and suddenly Congress admits we're dealing with something beyond human comprehension. Think about that convergence. We're cleaning house on Earth while admitting that we're not alone in the universe. Representative Luna is demanding answers about tech that pulls thousands of G's. Now, these aren't weather balloons. They're proof that the government lied for decades. So here's the question. Should Trump create a Department of Extraterrestrial Affairs to handle non-human intelligence? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And let's continue this conversation. And while you're there, grab some Next News gear to join the disclosure revolution. All right, here comes Howard the Ducks, says Pothead Kenny. I worked on George's 450 SL dark blue in Las Vegas. Nice car. Nish Paquette. I mean, Kenny, sorry, sometimes it's just your wife. Okay, Patricia Duff, yes. Michael Jones, A. Michael Jones, yes. Folks, I'd love to sit around and hang out in the chat, but today I cannot. Lynn says God is the one who created Earth, the moon, the stars, everything. If you read the Bible, you will know he didn't create one thing, then create something else 5,000 years later. Okay, the Patriots, that's the show we've had today. We started with South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson throwing down the gauntlet, a combat veteran who survived 32 lawfare attacks for backing Trump, now running for governor. This man spent $100 grand and 4.5 years fighting off Democrats trying to destroy his law license. He won every single case. Now he's promising to unleash the South Carolina Guard wherever Trump needs them. That's not campaign talk. That's a colonel who understands the mission. Then we dove into how my Chipocalypse Now meme literally broke the internet. Over the weekend, I created it, Trump reposted it, and the establishment had a complete meltdown. Senators calling it treason, governors screaming martial law, but all we did was hold up a mirror to Chicago's reality. 8 dead last weekend, 7 the week before, 74 wounded. That's the real apocalypse. And my meme just forced America to look at it. An Operation Midway Blitz is delivering justice for Katie Abraham and every American victim of criminal illegals. The Supreme Court just gave ICE the green light, and they're using it. Juan Gaspar, child predator, gone. 1.5 million self-deporting because they know Trump means business. While protesters wave Mexican flags and mayors build walls around courthouses, Tom Homan's message is clear: zero tolerance and no exceptions. And Randy Fine's judicial accountability bill could revolutionize American justice. No more hiding behind robes while releasing killers. Iryna Zarutska is dead because a judge gambled with her life and lost. Fine wants judges to pay personally when their social experiments end in murder. Even Elon Musk gets it. This is common sense accountability. And then Congress admitted what we've known all along. We're not alone. Navy chiefs confirming Tic Tacs from the ocean. Air Force vets describing two-story craft. Colonel Karl Nell stating non-human intelligence is real. Lockheed Martin negotiating over crash materials. The Pentagon's biggest secret just crumbled on the House floor. And to everyone who sent in super chats and rumble rants throughout the show, you guys are the backbone of the movement. Your voices matter. Your support keeps us going. So thank you for making the raw feed what it is. Real Americans getting real news in real time. Remember to tell a friend about the show. Share it, text it, bypass their algorithms. Check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wear your patriotism like armor. We've got Alligator Alcatraz, President Otto Penn, and our American Badass series waiting for you. Tomorrow we'll be back with more explosive revelations as this administration continues draining the swamp, securing the border, and yes, preparing for whatever else is out there beyond the atmosphere. This is Gary Franchi reminding you, the truth doesn't need permission to be told. Thanks for joining the Raw Feed Patriots. We'll see you next time. Stay vigilant, stay free, and stay tuned. And happy birthday, Angelo.